The Norwegian murderer has shown himself to be as much an enemy of humanity as any jihadist. Indeed, he is a jihadist by any other name. He claims there's a war going on, and there certainly is. A war between civilized people and violent barbarians like him. It sickens me to think that this kind of thing can still happen, when it must be obvious to even the most stupid among us that violence will never prevail because it will never win the hearts and minds of the people, the ones who are always left to pick up the pieces. How obvious does that have to be? You'd have to be a moron not to see it, or a fanatic. And given the parlous state of democracy in Europe today, it's clear that any fundamental change in society is going to require overwhelming public support. Violence immediately snuffs that out like a candle. It's gone. This lunatic has murdered 76 innocent people and drawn hatred upon himself and everything he claims to believe in. He's hated in Norway. He's hated everywhere, as much as the suicide bombers in London and New York were hated and still are, and as much as any fanatical zealot who thinks that they have a right to play God. Violence is not the answer. It's never the answer. And we will never progress as a species until we drag ourselves out of this swamp of violence. And that's why anyone who uses or who advocates violence for any political reason is my enemy. No exceptions. I couldn't help noticing, however, in the aftermath of this atrocity, a rather unhealthy eagerness in some quarters to apportion blame by association, as if all critics of Islam are somehow complicit in this man's insanity. Well, that's very unfortunate, but given that the rules have now clearly been changed in this regard, I'll be very interested to see how many hate-preaching imams are blamed for the next Islamic atrocity. No one who criticises Islam or multiculturalism is in any way responsible for this lunatic's actions, and the criticisms are all still entirely valid. Islam is still a totalitarian ideology that actively threatens our freedom. Political correctness is still, yes, cultural Marxism, and multiculturalism is still a lie. And all over Europe, de facto blasphemy laws are still being used to prosecute people who criticise Islam and only Islam. These horrific murders have not changed any of that. And the only thing that will change it, and the only way to get the overwhelming public support needed for change, is not through violence, but by defending freedom of speech, no matter what, and by telling the truth. That's all we need. Peace, and a little honesty would be nice as well.